Disclaimer: I fully agree that children should be protected online, but in my opinion, the best way to do that is for their parents to intervene, not just businesses. This video is part satire and part of a rant of the changes that the Online Safety Act has forced upon the world. Ever since I grew up in the early 2000s, I was a fan of video games. Granted, I sucked at them, but I loved them nonetheless. Starting with playing games on the VTAG, educational puzzle games. If you don't know what a VTAG is, well, sorry, I guess. To playing on a boxy computer, from educational games to Midtown Madness with a steering wheel. Then, at the peak of childhood gaming, the Nintendo DS with its big download play library. Everything was local, people I knew, family or friends. Then I got introduced to web browser games, some with an online multiplayer feature, but none really with a way to communicate. It was fine. I didn't know any better. Then, games like Roblox and Minecraft came to the table for me, and it all changed. No longer were you just staring into the soul of another human controlled character. You could chat, say hi, roleplay, troll, cuss someone out because you're a teenager with access to the internet at the temperament of an African buffalo. The world was your oyster, and as long as you didn't make it too bold, you could get away with it. No, I will not consider the shooter genre in-game VC, as I wasn't an Xbox or PlayStation console gamer. Moderation wasn't as severe, as you were more free to say whatever you wanted. Now you can get censored for saying just about the most regular things. Now I'm not saying moderation nowadays is bad, but in some cases, it's an overkill. Letting all ages play online with basically unlimited accessibility has drawbacks. Drawbacks which result into PR nightmares for companies. Look, you can add the "Are you above 18" tick box, but not everyone who filled that box is actually 18. So, what did the companies do to appease to the masses and comply to governmental laws, seeing as child endangerment is running rampant? Censorship and moderation, as well as ID verification. It's all under the guise of safety, and that is partially true, but it's mostly to save PR interest and protect their business. We want to protect the children, so here's what's going to happen. Last year, in December, to name a little unknown outlier of a game, they're called Roblox, decided to forcefully trial age verification on their platform for chat functionality. If you don't verify, you can't use the chat functionality on Roblox. As a person from the Netherlands, I was one of the unfortunate souls who had to deal with it. I could chat with other people except for a few select countries: Australia, New Zealand, and of course, the Netherlands. Now, I'm not that big of a chatter usually anymore in game, unless I'm feeling goofy or have a general disgust or intrigue in whatever is being talked about. But it's always fun to read the chat and whatever conversation takes place in it. But that was no longer a thing for a little while. Yeah, that fell off massively. I couldn't speak with anyone basically. I could still see some chats, but it was mostly a wasteland. It also beautifully displayed the absolute downside of this new system Roblox implemented. Age groups. Age groups got added into the Roblox service and it has been live since January of this year globally. You can see chats of anyone that is more than one bracket above or below your own age group, leading to interesting and confusing one sided conversations in chat. I got placed in the adult group by the AI bot because fuck giving anyone but governmental institutions your personal ID. This is biometric data which a game company or social media service has no need to possess, even if briefly. I got put into the 21 age group, so I can only see messages of the 21 plus and 18 to 20 age group. When people of the former group chat with people of the 16 to 17 group, I can only see whatever the 18 to 20 group person says. This is technically fine, unless you realize you can fool the stupid face scan bot into believing you belong in a different age group. The bot doesn't even get certain people in the right age group when they aren't trying to fool it. So, now only moderators can see whatever fucked up shit people with less good intentions are communicating to the vulnerable individuals. Way to mess it up, Roblox. But that was a small indie company that did it. This one is even more of a rare diamond, a little indie game. It went viral. Oh, the game you ask? Minecraft. Minecraft, Mojang, Microsoft is going to ask you the same thing in a few months or so if you aren't a UK resident. They already have the unfavorable treatment of having to ID verify to use the social features. Doesn't matter if you're a Bedrock or Java user, you all fall under the Eclipse of ID verification. And it's sad that it would too deploy globally, so look forward to that, if you aren't affected yet. Now they did mention mobile providers can age verify you, so if you have a phone number added as a security thing, I guess not much changes depending on if it's a verification option where you live. But if that does not work, you have to face scan yourself or send your ID. Protecting kids by digging more into people's privacy. I love the internet. Surely this one will go better, right? I mean, right? It's Minecraft. This, like Roblox, removes chat. It creates problems for servers as you can't party up anymore. You can't communicate with teammates in Bed Wars anymore, and will have to resort to primitive forms of communications on survival servers, books, or signs. Hooray for technology. Now there is a mod for Java that apparently allows for bypassing of this verification, but that's client side only as far as I understand. And since servers have to comply with Mojang rules, I don't think that servers will add a bypass for it. But I hope they find a system that still allows you to like communicate and invite people to party your survival world. The last thing I want to cover before I point my nose at the big puppeteer in the universe, it's not a game, it's Discord, who will release the default teen settings by March of this year. Now, to throw a big target out of the window that everyone seems to miss, not everyone will have to verify. You know, George Orwell, Animal Farm type shit. Everyone is equal, but some are more equal than others. This will probably primarily affect the gooners of Discord who will have to age verify to access their goon community. The term goon and gooner, by the way, for the boomers in the audience, has turned from simply meaning bad guy henchman to now being associated with the act of shucking one's corn, the lewd corn variety. Anyways, if you use Discord just to chat, you're going to be fine for now, most likely, since apparently Discord has already been collecting your user data based on your behavior on Discord, which you can find in an article which is linked in the default teen settings blog post. In said article, they mentioned that they will implement ID verification for unrestricted access to their service globally. They have the ID option and face verification, which allegedly will remove your photo after use instantly. This is done by KID, a different company than the one that had the oopsie accidental personal ID leak. This also isn't Persona, which apparently is tied to another can of worms I'm not going to cover in this video. You will have to go through this process if the algorithm they made is unsure if you're an adult based on your user data. Please do pay attention that Discord has a history with user data and personal info leaks over the past years of its existence. Now, the recent big one wasn't the same external company that will do Face ID, that was Discord's external support service, Zendesk, which is not associated with KID, as far as I'm aware. But still, do you trust anyone other than your government with your personal ID? My personal take is you shouldn't, but I'm just a voice on the World Wide Web. You make the decision if you do or don't. Now, this ID trend is spreading like wildfire, but that is mostly because the embers that started it have been smoldering for a year or longer and have been deemed successful. Successful in quotation marks. Thanks to the governments of several places. One of the big boogeymans is their beloved country of the Tea King himself, the United Kingdom. Because of the fact that child safety has always been an issue since the dawn of the internet, some old people probably woke up one day, done with all the complaints from parents on how their child isn't being kept safe online, said, "Man, we have to come up with some law that forces companies to keep kids safe." Give it some time, some draft, and debates, and boom, behold, the Online Safety Act was born. This is one, if not the brainchild, behind the Silent Eclipse. Back in my days, my parents kept tabs on what I did on the internet, but apparently between me being a teen and now an adult, the generations before me got lazy and think that it's the job of whatever service their kids use to keep them safe. Question mark? To raise their kids for them? Question mark? I don't know, but last time I checked, you, the parent, are supposed to raise and monitor your children. Fuck your phone, fuck whatever thing is more important to you than the safety of your own spawn. It can't be family, because then you would be informing your kids on what is good and bad on the internet. It can't be your kids, because you keep companies liable for the mistakes that you make that get your child in danger. Because it's easier to blame anyone else than to take blame yourself. There's a balance between giving your kid privacy and keeping them safe. Put some effort in it, for fuck's sake. Keep the kids safe. A good program, in my opinion, would be informing the parents and forcing them to take part in keeping their kids safe online. Don't let them have a social media account until they are of the right age. Do give them access to a social media account, inform and monitor. Be a responsible parent. Don't be a slave to your own phone. The tablet isn't going to raise your child for you.
Now, one thing that I have somehow forgotten to point out during this entire video, and I'll have to edit in somewhere in post, is the fact that this whole ID verification thing is an invasion on your privacy. I did point out that social media or game companies have no need to possess your biometric data, but I forgot to point out specifically the fact that it's invading your privacy and putting your personal identity at a risk of being accessed by bad actors. Discord already is technically violating your privacy by the fact it made an algorithm that can determine if you're an adult or not based on your user data. Discord says it's not specifically reading the contents of your messages, but how does it then know? Since we're already at Discord again, because we love Discord, but the bond is getting sour. Discord is one of probably many companies to come that had a huge data leak that included personal IDs. Now, technically, it's an outsourced party that Discord uses to handle their help desk. Still, they were hired by Discord to do it, so Discord is responsible for not doing background checks well enough on the fact if such info actually got deleted or not. But imagine if other companies that process ID verification become a target of a similar hack and they don't remove the processed images of your ID or driver's license, putting hundreds of people's personal IDs on the digital streets for a price. Do we really want to go to a future where this happens? Well, sadly, we don't have to hope because the risks and odds are there. It will happen, it's just when. Instead of doomsday preaching anymore, I rather stay realistic and hope that there will be a better way to keep people safe of all ages without having people putting their most valuable data at risk.
This silent eclipse is coming, and it will spread to other online services. I don't know how it will affect other things, but I do know it's not the end of it. Unless it gets so bad, the UK and other governments undo their law or change it in a way that doesn't put everyone's privacy at risk. But, um, the prior best idea of the UK government was leaving the EU, the Brexit, and they haven't crawled back into the EU, so I have my doubts. Hey, if you made it to the end, I've got some cut audio takes I found quite funny coming up, so I'll leave you to that. Anyways, my name is whatever the hell you want to call me, and you'll hear me again next time. Bye bye. Then I got introduced. The big M umbrella is going to ask you same thing in a few months. Motherfucker. Doesn't matter if you're a Bedrock or Java user, you often you can't communicate with a teammate in Bed Wars, or will have to resort to primitives. In said article, they mentioned that they will implement ID verification for unrestricted. In said article, they mentioned that they will implement ID verification for unrestricted access. And when I got my Nintendo DS, that was basically the. Probably woke up one day, done with all the complaints from the parents on how their account. Because of the fact that children's safe to playing educational games. Fuck. Your personal ID. This is biometric data that people. This is biometric. 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 Which a game company. Why is there people? Remove that. Remove that. They have the ID option And a complaints from parents on how their children aren't protected by big companies that provide social media or entertainment